Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2. I almost said Farming Simulator, but I caught myself. Euro Truck Simulator 2, and we're in Norway, and we're making our way from. Let me zoom out a little bit here. We're making our way from Stavenger, right? And we're heading up north. Wow, that's a little bit longer than I thought. We're heading up north to Dombås. Man, the main thing for me is that I'm respectful with European pronunciation. I tell you what, man, there's times I struggle with U.S. American. So I want to do my very best to at least at least make the effort. I don't just want to, throw it out there. Right, so we are in our DAF. I don't know if you really got to look at it when we started in Stavenger. But this is our DAF. I do like this truck. I do. And it's got, now this works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's because I have so many mods. But that light bar up on top, obviously is it? Yeah, it's turned on. Yeah, it's turned on. So, no, come back. So that is, yeah, it works sometimes it doesn't. And yeah, it's got a blinker in it too. But I feel like we're not getting the high beam effect from it right now. So it goes. That's the problem when you have 1 billion mods. Right, so we got a ways to go, and we are going to have to sleep at some point. But what we need to do right now is get up out of this gas station. So I think, it's going to be a little bit dicey, but I think we can do this. It's a pretty big set, I have to say. This is bigger than anything you would see in the United States. They let you run, well, at UPS we call them double pups. It's like they're not full-length 53-footers. They're smaller, and it goes, it's kingpin to rear axle, like the kingpin to the final axle of the rear trailer, I think is how it's measured, and it can't exceed a certain length. So it's not really the length of the box. It's that kingpin to axle measurement, and this is like 2 full-size boxes, I have to say. Much bigger than anything you'd see in the United States. But I do enjoy it, and I like the cab over trucks as well, and that's something that you also don't see in the United States. Used to, but they got rid of them. And it's a safety thing, and I've always been curious about that. About what was it about the cab overs that the Department of Transportation found unsafe? I don't know if it's for the drivers, because you sit so close to the front of the truck, so close to the windscreen. But I mean, I don't know. As far as safety goes, like if that's what you're preparing for, you know what I mean? Like that just seems like a worst case scenario thing. It seems like you would be more concerned about, I don't know, the visibility of a conventional truck with that long snout on it. I don't know. But at any rate, they did determine a while back that COEs were not safe in the United States. And so they are all gone. But if you're into retro TV, 70s TV shows, you want to check out that BJ and the Bear. He was a crime-fighting truck driver with a monkey and drove a Kenworth cab over. Ah! Almost went for it. Glad that I did not. And what was the other one? There was another show from the 70s called Moving On, I want to say. And it was also crime-fighting truck drivers, but they just had 2 of them. They didn't have a monkey. I'm going now. I gotta go. And hopefully this gangster on my left doesn't pull up and cause deviltry and mayhem. No, we made it. Did we? Yeah, he's staying put. Oh, are you watching in the mirror? Man, that is a long rig we got going on. Good for us. Right. So it looks like we got some fog. That's nice. I do like the weather effects in this game. And it is, you know, I know it's not next-gen graphics, and it is what it is. I think they're fine. I think this game, if you get your settings just right, and certain maps and certain, you know, because all this stuff is, well, not all of it, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of mod skyboxes and mod clouds and mod fog, and you know what I mean. But if you get everything, if it all comes together just right, this game can be really, really, I think, amazing to look at. It's not perfect, but no game is, you know. And then on top of that, how good a game is depends on your system, and your system can change over time, both for better or for worse. It can change for better when you improve it. It can change for worse when it just ages, you know, when games sort of pass it by. And I wonder sometimes, like, this game is using the patch model, right? Like, it's not, there's no Euro Truck 3 or anything on the horizon. They just patch the game. And I'm curious, when they do that, if they also improve graphics. You know, if you've got a game that's, you know, 15 or 18 patches deep, 3 or 4 years old, is it running exactly the same textures as it was the day it was released? Or are those gradually bumped up as well, assuming that computers are going to be improving over time? You know what I mean? Or do they what's the word we want to use? Like, are they mindful of the fact that some people are not upgrading their machines and they don't want those newer textures because they won't be able to render them? Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. You know what I'm getting at. There we go. So yeah, I think this game can be really, really immersive and really, really just gorgeous from certain angles. And I know. It's not next gen, but it's a pretty good looking game, I think. And definitely immersive. Man, it's got those legs. That's been my thing. I've been thinking about that. I've been unpacking that for weeks now, months. I've just been reflecting on it. You know, what gives a game legs? And I don't know, something about this game. It's so simple, you know? It's such a simple, goofy concept. You just drive a truck around Europe, but man, it is, it's hypnotic. It's a caper, as they say. So we're going to drive for a while, and we're going to look for a place to sleep on the right side of the highway, the correct side of the highway, so we don't have to turn around. Although we did okay in that fuel stop both ways, because we had to flip it 180 degrees twice, and both times we did okay. However, that one was a little bit, that was on not a cul-de-sac, but you know what I mean? That was like kind of back off the main highway, so we didn't have traffic problems to deal with getting in and out. But you saw, like, when we were getting back onto the main highway, it was a little iffy, you know? So I don't know if we find a place to sleep and it's on the left side of the highway and we do have to flip 180 degrees again. I don't know if it's going to be as easy if we're doing it directly off the highway, you know, as it was back into that little sort of hideaway. Now, I will say Scandinavia tends to have the sleep areas here tend to be, well, I guess there's some in France too. Some places on the map seem to have the rest areas are like, whoa. The rest areas are like right up next to the highway, and others they're like a little bit more separated, you know, give you a little bit more latitude, breathing room, whatever, maneuvering room. It's a maneuver. So that may be the case. I know there's some in Sweden that are like off the highway back in the pine trees. Very restful. I wonder about that too. In real life, I wonder about departments of transportation and ministries of transportation and what they think about, you know, when they think about truck drivers, lorry drivers. Because, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday. Because I did an ETS video the other day. 2 days ago? Yesterday? I don't know. But I was thinking about it, and I clipped a car, right? And oh man, I know it sounds ridiculous and I sound totally OCD, but it really bugs me when I do that. It bugs me when I do it at all. It particularly bugs me when I do it on camera. Okay, we got fuel up here, but no sleep. And I was thinking about like how I would have done that differently. It was a right turn from I want to say like a 2-lane road or a ramp or something. From a 2-lane road to a 2-lane road. I'm seeing both icons back there. I think this is the one we've been looking for. Get the back axle up. I think this is the one we've been looking for. I think there's going to be sleep back here. Yeah, it didn't say it on the first sign, but it said it on the second sign. Yep, this is the one we were looking for. Okay, cool. So we can get some sleep. And I believe when we started the video, we needed to sleep in 5 hours. And with the time compression, I'm guessing, oh, now what do we do? Now what do we do? With the time compression, I'm guessing we need to sleep right about now. What do I do with this ridiculous rig, this fuel stop? Let's do this. Let's do this. Scandinavia people are pretty chill, are they not? Yeah, they're real relaxed. That's what I've heard. So let's do this. Let's pull this right in here. Yeah, I think we're going to leave our boxes right there. Yeah. We're going to pull over here and sleep. And I think where I got those positioned, I mean, it'd be a pain in the ass for a big truck. But I think, yeah. So, set the brake. No. Wrong button. Set the brake. Let's put her in neutral. Parking lights on. Yeah. I think where I got those, you'd be able to sneak a car past. Right? You see what I mean? You'd be able to sneak a car past on the left of them from this angle. Yeah, that's not the coolest thing I've ever done. But I think the only other way we could make it work would be to make it work worse, if that makes sense. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's inconvenient for people. But there's no other place that we could have put the truck with the boxes hooked up that would not have been more inconvenient. You get what I'm saying? Maybe. Right, so let's get this hooked up again. And I did forget to check. I imagine we would have needed to sleep pretty soon. And as much as I push it, I push it too far and we always end up half asleep. So I thought that made more sense. Right, now we gotta flip this thing 180 degrees again. And hopefully this will be, well, it might be the last time. Oh no, actually we don't. My mistake. We're in that little pull-off area that I was hoping I would find, and then I did, and then after I slept, I completely forgot that's where we were. Right. Okay. So that went, I have to say, that went pretty smoothly. And I do need to remember that our rear axle is up. But you know what? Looking at the GPS down there, I think I see some shenanigans coming up. Yeah, looks like we're getting on a freeway. So I'm just going to leave it up until we make the turn. Right. Okay. Yeah, things are going good so far. Things are going really well. And I think about, wow, it's been almost a year since I started doing this, but I think about when I was first making Euro Truck videos, and one of the first places I went was Scandinavia with Frosty, because I really like this area. Wanted to show it to you. And it's weird for me to think about how much better a fake truck driver I am, if that makes sense. And I'm not like glossing myself or anything. I'm just aware of the fact that like there is a learning curve to this, and no matter how good you think you're getting at it, you can always get a little better. So it's to be able to comfortably drive this giant rig and think about how I would have handled this a year ago, almost a year ago. Now, of course, as I say that, I'm going to hit something and ruin it. But you get what I'm saying. You know, always improving, always improving. I'm such a big fan of that, like in real life, that no matter what happens, no matter what's going on in your world, you're always looking for ways to improve yourself. Sir? Oh dear. Oh dear. Could have been handled better, I must say. By me, I mean that guy certainly could have lended a hand, but whatever. That was mostly on me. I don't like to wait. It's not an oh, there goes my voice. It's not an impatience thing. I just hate to lose all my momentum, you know. So I tend to, when I'm heading down a ramp, I tend to accelerate and look for a hole rather than stop and wait for a hole. If that makes sense. Right. We did put the lift axle down, did we not? Yeah, we did on the ramp. So, okay, we got a full bag of gas. We've got plenty of sleep, and we're rolling. I don't think we're gonna make it in this episode, and it's weird because I didn't plan it that way. I thought it would be 1 or 2 episodes. I just picked a city that was the right direction, you know, and off we went. But I'm feeling like this might be 2 or 3 episodes. But hey, man, what can you do? That's the way it works out. Same thing's happening on ETS. I picked a monster trip from up in Nevada down to southern Arizona, and it's going to take 3 episodes. But man, it's weird to think about a trip that may take 2 or 3 sessions, and then I remind myself, like, oh, man, it's all just driving a truck. It's all just driving a truck. Same thing happens in farm sim when a farm goes wrong, or when you lose a save game or something, and you think, man, I need to redo the work that I already did. And it bothers me for some reason. And then I'm like, what the hell's the difference? It's all just fake farming. You know, does that make sense? I think you know what I mean. Like if you lose a save game, let's say you plant barley in 3 fields. And your plan was to plant barley in 3 more fields. And then you find out you lost your save game, and it's like, man, I got to plant barley in 3 fields. But because it's 3 fields that you already planted barley in, right? It like, oh, I'm so mad. But it's all just fake farming or fake trucking, or, you know, I don't know. Games are funny, man. They really, really are. There's a repetitive aspect to it. But I feel like that's sort of what we want, you know? I've been really studying YouTube channels. And I know there's some YouTube channels where I have to say the YouTuber is doing really the same thing every single episode, and they have like hundreds of thousands of views. And then there's other YouTubers that it's really, really different. Like maybe they'll do the same game once or twice per week. Not in the same week, but like let's say they have a series, right? Like I have 3 series going right now. I have 2 farm sim, ATS and ETS, right? So any given week you're going to see Euro Truck as an example. So using these other YouTubers as an example, like they've got one series per week that is something that they've been working on or something that they have already going, right? Like let's say Euro Truck, and then every other episode, every other video that week is a new game or a new sim or whatever. And so there's a lot of variety and a lot of new stuff on their channel versus my channel, which is I guess the only new stuff, the only real new stuff I do is DLC. It's not intentional. I just really where do we want to go here? Let's go where the trucks are going. I guess I'm saying I'm in the former camp. You know, I like the idea of long play series. I like the idea of sort of storytelling videos. You know, we're telling a story. The story we're telling is we're making a big clockwise loop around Europe, or we're growing a farm from just, you know, bare bones. Just started. We're going to grow a farm and try to have €1 million in our checking account or whatever. I like that kind of storytelling series. And I feel like for other channels, for other YouTubers, it's more like, hey, this is a new game, check it out, you know, decide for yourself whether you want to buy it or not. Or if people are curious about gameplay or curious about a new game, you know, what's that game like? Got a little bit of spaghetti here. Knees weak. Yep. Just right through here. Okay, not complicated at all. So you get what I'm saying. It's more, they're not quite reviews. It is gameplay, but it's also gameplay of a new game that you may have not seen before, give you an idea of, you know, what it looks like outside of the trailer that the developer made, which always looks awesome because it's marketing. Of course they're going to make the trailers look phenomenal. But what's the game really look like? How does it really play? How do the controls really respond? And so there's YouTubers that do those sorts of videos where it's always something new. Now, some of that, to be honest, some of that is chasing subs and likes and comments. You know, by always having new content up, you get more search results, because there's several ways you can get traffic in YouTube. This is something else that I'm finding out. And when I say this stuff, I'm not coming off like a YouTube expert. You know, there's several ways that you can get traffic. I don't mean it like that at all. But there are several ways. One of them is that you have people that subscribe to you that watch your videos, right? That's like organic kind of in-house traffic. The other way is your video gets recommended either organically or because you pay. It gets recommended next to other similar videos. And then the third way is people find you via search, either off of Google or within YouTube or whatever. So, you know, tags are really important, and most of my views, about 85% of my views, are from people that are not subscribed, and a lot of that comes from people that are searching for something. So I think by using that new game model, you know, that new sim model where you always have new games and new sims and stuff that's just been released, you capture a lot of traffic from people that are looking to check out that game before they buy it, and they want to see something more than the trailer. So there is, I don't want to call it a public service. Yeah, it's almost like a public service. There is sort of a public service aspect to that, where you're showing people games that they may be considering buying. But there's also it's not entirely altruistic, is what I'm saying, because you do generate traffic from search, particularly for new things that people are looking for. People don't necessarily look for older things because they're already sort of out and about, you know. They're already, I wouldn't say fixtures, but you know what I mean. There's plenty of information available about something like Euro Truck. But when I do, like my biggest video has, don't laugh, it's got almost 2,500 views. I've never paid for a sub. I've never paid for a like. I've never paid for a view. And I've never paid for recommendation via YouTube. Buying views and likes, that's kind of a gray market area. But as far as paid placement, that's just a feature of YouTube. You can just pay them to put your video in the recommended column next to a video that you want to be associated with, right? And different YouTubers, obviously, the size of their channel determines the price of that. I haven't done that. I'm also really on the fence about what I would do if channel ever grew big enough that I could actually place ads. But fortunately, I don't have to worry about that right now because I'm not nearly that big. Anyway, when you get into, I'm trying to remember what the hell I was talking about. Oh, my 2,500 view video. It was a DLC. It was the Long Island Railroad, and it doesn't escape me that my biggest videos tend to be about something new. And again, this is when it gets really like, oh man, this is like art versus commerce, you know? This is like Pope Julian yelling at Michelangelo, Mike, when you gonna finish my ceiling? And Michelangelo's like, it'll be done when it's done, dude. I'm making something significant here. Everybody knows Michelangelo painted the ceiling. Not everybody knows who he painted it for. So, goes to show you, you know, sometimes you got to pay more attention to the art than the commerce, but you also got to buy them groceries. So, it is kind of tricky, you know, to think like, do I want to do the things that I know work, or do I want to do the things that feel right? And it's awesome when it's the same thing both at the same time. You know, I love making that Long Island Railroad DLC. I do like Train Sim World. quite a bit. And then it happened to be something that really worked well for the channel, and I picked up a bunch of subs and almost doubled the size of the channel in like 3 weeks. So super pleased about that. But what I'm saying is I don't want to do either one to the extreme. I don't want to start chasing subs and just always putting up new sims and new content, but I also don't want to get so wrapped up in my idea of what the channel looks like or should look like that I ignore what people want. So yeah, man, I'm telling you, this is such a process, and I would recommend it for anybody, for everybody. Like if you're a fan of gaming, or if you're a fan of YouTube and you're thinking about starting a channel, like absolutely 100% you should do this. It is such a cool experience, and you really should check it out. And it's simple too. If you got a gaming box, you're already like 80-90% of the way there. You just need some capture software and a decent microphone. Although you don't need a decent microphone. I started with a headset microphone that was in my my gaming headset. I thought it worked. You know, there's unknown unknowns in life. You don't know what's going to work. You don't know what's not going to work until you try something and find out what does or doesn't work. So I ended up going to the Blue Yeti, as everybody does. But I started with a headset mic, and I started with really nothing. And then you just sort of make some videos and take a look at them and see what needs improving, and focus your resources there. And once you get that sorted, then focus on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. Man, I do like making these videos. It's so cool. I got a really cool comment the other day. Somebody said, the channel doesn't get the attention it deserves. And I was like, yes, see, I knew it. And that's, that's tricky, because you can't, you have to appreciate the comments that people leave. You can't dismiss your viewers, but at the same time, like, it's not necessarily something you can hang your hat on and, start coasting. So I feel like I'm doing something I believe in. I feel like I'm doing this the right way, the way that I think makes the most sense, and I'm just going to trust that in time people will find out about me. I think people already are, and it's growing. It's growing, but it's a slog, man. YouTube is a massive platform, and there are a lot of creators on this platform, and they're making a lot of videos. So I am flattered that anybody would take the time to watch anything that I make. I really, really am. And I think it's not necessarily an ego thing. It's a little bit. It's not all ego. Some of it is just, it's just really cool. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just really cool that you would make something and somebody would be like, yeah, I want to check that out. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like going up on stage at your local coffee house with your little acoustic guitar, playing some Eddie Vedder, maybe a little Tori Amos. You know what I'm talking about. So we're at 28 minutes. I think, how are we doing on fuel? Big tank on this truck, apparently. We do not need fuel. So I think what I'll do is let's do what we did last week. We'll pull in. I don't think we needed fuel last week, but I think we just pulled in there because it was a good place to end the video. So let's do the same thing. Let's look for a fuel stop up here, or a rest stop, or even just a wide spot in the road. And the next one we see that's doable, we'll pull it in there and we'll call it for this week, and then we'll finish next week. But yeah, man, I'm digging these 30-minute videos. I used to go like 40, 50 minutes, an hour. I didn't mind, but I feel like that was a bit much for people to take. So I'm trying to trim it down to between 20 and 30 minutes. I think it's working a little better. Now, we could get off here, but this looks a little spaghetti. A little bit. Yeah, and I see a traffic circle there too. Right, on to the next one. We got time. Oh, okay. This guy coming in from the right. Sir, you're gonna need to wait. That big wrecker, it's a big, it might even be a DAF, but there's a big wrecker recovery vehicle in one of the packs. I don't know if it's drivable. I think it might be. You know what I mean? It's like a mod pack for a truck. Maybe it's drivable. Anyway, so you get this big old So we're gonna do a little magic here. I don't know what this, yeah, this is a rest area, but we're not gonna actually rest here. We're just gonna end the video here. Because again, with this big rig, if we parked it here, we would be jamming a lot of people up, and we don't need to sleep. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna stop right here for a second, end the video, and when we pick it up next week, we will be in the same spot, but we will not have slept, and we'll just roll out from here. Does that make sense? Somebody already beeping at me? Oh yeah, yeah. So when we start next week, we'll just start from right here. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.